What's up, guys? My name is Alexis Brown, your host with Praises in the Pod, and I am stoked to have Jordan Statzer with us today. We are going to be talking about a lot of things, and one of the things may need a trigger warning, which is infant loss. So if you are currently dealing with something like this, or maybe this is a little bit heavier than what you normally would like to listen to, we want to be praying for you and everybody that listens to something like this, and we just know that people are in different spots. So we are going to start out in prayer, and then we're going to jump right in. Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for all your many blessings, dear God. Thank you for allowing Jordan to come on and share her and Ivy's story, Lord. We pray that you speak to us and through us, and let this story glorify you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
All right, girl. So let's just jump right in. When do you and Tyler meet? And Tyler is her husband.
Yes.
So when do y'all meet, and what happens with that?
I actually met Tyler whenever I was in high school. I was probably 13 or 14.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So y'all have known each other a long time.
We have.
Oh, okay.
We knew each other, but his best friend lived across the street from me.
Oh, okay.
And our parents were good friends, so I would always go to his best friend's house, and he would be there, that kind of thing. But it was never like a, hey, we're hanging out in a setting. Mm-hmm. So he would see me there, and that was that. So he knew of me, basically. Yeah. But he went through high school. He graduated. He was a senior when I was a freshman, so he graduated.
Oh, I didn't know y'all have an age difference.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not big or anything, but I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So he definitely was not looking at me in a romantic way at all.
That's good.
Yeah, I was very awkward with braces and just, yeah. So he graduated, and I, obviously went through high school. Then I went off to cosmetology school in Statesboro. I wanted the college experience. I got to live with my best friend. It was great. I spent a year there. And then I came back after I graduated, and Tyler was living here, and he posted an Instagram story, and I just was like, oh, kind of forgot he existed. I wonder what he's up to. And I clicked on his page and accidentally liked a picture from 2014.
And that'll do it.
So then 3 days after that, he messaged me on Instagram, and we've basically been with each other every single day since that. But yeah, and that was during COVID. So it was 2020, May of 2020 when we started dating. We got engaged in August of 2021. When we started dating, neither of us were going to church. I never went to church in college. He hadn't been going to church for years at that point. And we, that was that. We were just dating. We got married. We did marriage counseling with J. Ray, and that was really great. That kind of helped us a little bit. And we would go to church every now and then with his parents.
Yeah. But
we were never like there every Sunday or anything like that. It was more so just if we felt like it, or if we got invited and we wanted to, we would go. But we did not have that routine.
Okay, so you get married, and you instantly get pregnant.
Instantly.
Yeah.
So
okay.
We went on our honeymoon, and I think it was the day, maybe 2 days after I got back from my honeymoon, I had a birth control implant, and I got that removed. And they told me, they were like, it'll take 9 months to a year before you can get pregnant. Like you have this birth control implant.
Wow. You got it taken out when?
I think a couple days after our honeymoon, and I got pregnant the same day that
That's crazy.
Yeah, because we were told it was going to take a while. Yeah. I'm like, well, we want to have kids.
Well, might as well start now,
Well, and Tyler, he had this thing. He has since changed his mind, but he had this thing where he's like, I need to have all my kids before I'm 30. And he was 26 when we got married. So he's like, we need to get started if it's going to take a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got pregnant like right after our honeymoon. So we went from being engaged, married, and then immediately pregnant, which can be a lot for in the first year of marriage. The first year of marriage, you go through so much. And so adding in those hormones and pregnancy, it was a lot. And I had a very high risk pregnancy.
From the start, they
already
knew that?
Not necessarily. I was having issues, but I felt like it was never like, we didn't know what the issues were. I was really uncomfortable. I was really struggling, and I wasn't that far along. And so everyone's like, oh, you think it's hard now? You just wait. And so I kind of swept a lot of the issues I was having under the rug because if you know me from a child, I have been described as dramatic. So I was like, maybe I'm being dramatic. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe there isn't anything wrong. Maybe this is just pregnancy and I am a wimp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really struggled. And then doing hair, working on my feet all day, every day, my body was just hurting. I was in so much pain all the time. So in my first trimester, I had what they call a subchorionic hematoma, which is basically, from my understanding, I don't know if this is accurate. I'm not
Any
a doctor.
doctors are listening.
I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure it's basically just kind of like a blood blister on your placenta.
Okay.
Question mark? Yeah. But it causes bleeding. And so if I walked a lot, if I saw my feet a lot, I would bleed. And that was really scary because you're not supposed to bleed when you're pregnant. They basically told me, they're like, either something's going to happen and you won't be pregnant anymore, or it'll just heal itself. There's only those two options.
And there's nothing to help it. It was just 100% it's got to be on its own.
And I was too early. They were like, we can't put you on bed rest. You're only 8 weeks or whatever.
Dang.
And so they're like, you just have to keep living your life, try and take it easy, which can be hard when you do hair and you work on your feet all day. So that was a struggle. And I was just so paranoid. But it did eventually heal itself. So I was very thankful. And then I made it into my second trimester. And second trimester, everyone says, oh, you're going to feel great. Like, that's when everything gets better. Because I was sick the moment I found out I was pregnant. I mean, I'm talking the second I took the test, I was throwing up.
Oh, my gosh.
I lost 30 pounds with that pregnancy. I never gained any weight.
Wow.
So that was another struggle. So I got to the second trimester. We did the anatomy scan at 20 weeks, and she was measuring small. I was going to come back for an ultrasound at 24 weeks. And if she was still measuring small, I'd be sent to a high-risk doctor, and I ended up delivering at 23 weeks and 5 days.
Wow.
So I had her on a Thursday, and my appointment was on Monday. Wow. So, yeah.
That is extremely, extremely early.
Yes.
And so did you just go into labor, or like
Yes.
you went in and they're like, so you went in labor?
Yes. So I went to work. It was October 13th, and I went to work. And I did like 3 colors that day. And I remember specifically, Cammie, if you're watching this, I was giving my client, Cammie, a blowout. And halfway through, I just started having pain. And I kind of bent over, and she was like, if you need to take a minute, feel free. Like, it's okay. And I was like, no, I think it's just Braxton Hicks, because all of the pain that I'd been having I'd started having pain probably around 18 weeks. And everyone just chalked it up to Braxton Hicks. So while I was doing her blowout, I was like, I think it's just Braxton Hicks. It's fine. And so I finished her blowout, whatever, go about my day. I finish up around 3. Well, then I leave at 3, and I was going to go get a pedicure. And for some reason, I was like, I don't really feel like it. So I go to my mom's house. She lives right next to the salon that I work at. And I get there, and my niece at the time, she was 7 months old, and my mom had her, and I wanted to see my niece. So that's why I went over there. My mom wasn't there yet, and so I was on the phone with her, and I was like, I've got to pee. You know, you're pregnant. You pee all the time. So I go pee, and I lost my mucus plug. And I'm on the phone with my mom, who's a nurse, and I'm like, Mom, I think I just lost my mucus plug. She's like, no, you're only 23 weeks. You did not lose your mucus plug. It's just discharge. I was like, no, Mom, this doesn't look like discharge. Like, something's wrong. And so she's like, well, hold on. I'm about to be there. So she gets home, and I show it to her. She's like, yeah, that looks kind of suspicious. And so immediately I call my doctor, and they don't answer. So I leave a voicemail, and I'm just kind of waiting around. And in this moment, I'm starting to have really bad back pain, and I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
You
Just
know?
another thing, like, oh, this is normal.
Yep. I'm kind of playing with my niece. I go to pick her up, and I almost drop her because my back pain is just so intense at this moment. And I'm like, that's weird, but all these problems I've been having, you know, they say it's just normal, so I'm sure it's nothing. And I felt so calm. And anyone that knows me knows I am a spaz. I freak about everything. And so for me to feel calm, I'm like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
I just had this peace over me.
Is it just people telling you that this is normal, or like your doctors at this point had said
it was more so people that I knew that had been pregnant before that are like, oh, you're fine. And then, you know, the concerns that I had with the doctor, I was too nervous to call every other day and be like, hey, this is happening.
Yeah.
Even though that's their job, and they probably would have preferred that. But I felt so anxious that they were going to think that I was over dramatic.
Yeah.
So I just was like, okay, it's fine. Everyone else says it's fine, then it's fine. So I started having the back pain, almost dropped my niece. And so at that point, I just kind of like lay on my mom's hardwood floor because it was the only relief I was getting. And the doctor calls me back, and they're like, hey, you probably should just run up to the women's center at Houston, just because that's where they deliver. And they were like, just to get checked, you know, they'll probably hook you up to some machines, but everything's probably fine. Just go up there just to double check. So I'm like, okay. Well, Tyler was working. He usually would work until 3, but that day he was doing a side job with one of his buddies. So he was working. And so I call him and he's like, well, do I need to come up there? And I was like, no, everything's fine.
We're good.
I had no worries at all. I genuinely thought that I was just going to go up there. They were going to hook me up to some monitors and send me home. And so I told him, I'm like, when you finish up, come up here, but don't rush out. You're fine.
But, you know, it really is crazy because you said, like, normally you're full chaos.
Yeah,
like, at this point, you're like, oh, my gosh, what's going on? But, like, you already just have the sense of peace. Like, Tyler, no, it's fine. Like, we're good.
And that is not like me. I'm a very anxious person. I've struggled with anxiety my whole life. So for me to just be like, everything is fine was really weird. So before I go, I call my mother-in-law and I'm like, hey, I don't want to freak you out. I just want to let you know so that way, you know, you're aware. I'm going to the hospital. I think everything's fine, but I just wanted to let you know. And she's like, well, do I need to meet you there? And I was like, no, it's literally fine. Tyler's not even coming. Well, she happened to be on that side of town. And so she was like, I'm just going to go anyway. So I get in the car with my mom. And once I get in the car, I'm realizing that I'm having contractions.
Oh, wow.
It's every 5 minutes continuously. I set a timer and I'm very uncomfortable. And I'm just, you know, scared because I'm only 23 weeks pregnant. You're not supposed to have a baby at 23 weeks. So I texted my boss because I knew I wasn't going to work the next day. And so I just texted her. I was like, hey, I don't really know what's going on, but go ahead and reschedule my clients for tomorrow because something's not right.
Yeah.
So we get to the hospital and Michelle, my mother-in-law, is already there. And so I walk in with my mom and I'm the only person in the waiting room. And I walk up to the front desk and I say, hey, I'm only 23 weeks and I think I lost my mucus plug. And she said, do you think or do you know?
Well, I haven't had a baby before, so I think I did, but my mama said I did.
Exactly. I was like, I don't really know. And she's like, well, just go sit over there. They'll come get you in a minute. So I walk back over to the waiting area. I sit down because I'm like, okay, whatever. They'll come get me. And my contractions at this point are like every 3 minutes apart. And I'm uncomfortable, so I decide to stand up. And as soon as I stand up, I just feel a gush. And trigger warning.
May get a little graphic.
Yeah, definitely. So at this point, I start to panic because I'm like, that I didn't just pee myself. I know that felt different. So my mom's like, well, go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, and for some reason, I locked the door. I don't know why I did that, but I go in there and I sit down. And I look in the toilet and it's just full of blood. And I mean, it's a lot. Yeah. And it's like all over the floor and I just scream. And it's not like a mom. I've never screamed like that in my life. I was absolutely terrified. And so my mom comes running, the door's locked and I'm like frozen in fear. I can't move. And so finally I get up and I unlock the door. And at this point, Michelle has called someone over with a wheelchair. They put me in the wheelchair. They take me back and they check me, my cervix, and I'm 7 centimeters dilated.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were not being dramatic.
No.
You were in full labor.
I was in full labor and I would have been in labor all day during the blowout, everything. Yeah. And thank God I didn't go get my nails done because I would have been bleeding on the chair because I'm too scared to tell them that I need to get up.
Just sitting there like, are we almost done?
Yeah.
I gotta go. Yeah, that's perfect. Good. That's good.
So at this point, they take me back, they check me, and Michelle has called Keith, my father-in-law, and is like, hey, you need to go get Tyler. Because they didn't want to call him and say, hey, you need to come to the hospital, something's wrong, and him drive. So Keith calls Tyler and is like, hey, what are you doing? And Tyler's like, working? He's like, okay, well, I'm going to come get you. And he's like, what's wrong? He's like, nothing. I'm just going to come get you. And immediately Tyler hangs up the phone, gets in the car, drives to the hospital because he knew. Yeah. So I was only in the back for maybe 10, 15 minutes before Tyler got there.
Oh, so this was...
I assume that he was driving 100 miles an hour.
Had to be.
So he gets there and he walks in, and I feel like men don't get enough recognition for like labor, delivery, things like that, especially traumatic births, because he walks in and he sees me just covered in blood. And that was really hard for him because his immediate thought is, oh my gosh, like, my wife, what's going on? And then second thought, oh my gosh, my baby, what's going on? So at this point, they're like, you're in labor. We're going to give you magnesium to try and stop your labor. And magnesium is awful. If anyone's ever been on a magnesium drip, I commend you. It is awful. It makes you feel terrible. It made me super, super hot, and I was shaking like uncontrollable shaking. Like at first I thought I was having like a seizure. I'm like, okay, you gave me too much. Something's wrong. Yeah. But that's just a side effect, and it just makes you super hot, or at least it did. I
wonder, like, because if you lost all that blood, you've done the mucus plug and stuff. Like, I wouldn't think that they would be able to want to stop that. Is that? I mean, that was just what they said.
I think that they were all, because that was Houston, and I think that they were definitely not expecting that, and that's not something that is a common occurrence, and they had no idea why it was happening. So I think in their mind, they're like, we just got to stop labor. Yeah. So they put me on a table, and flipped me upside down to hopefully stop the bleeding. Yeah. So my legs are above my head, and I'm just panicking, freaking out. And Tyler, at this point, he's not doing good. His whole body turns white, and he has to sit down. They had to go get him a juice. Like, he was freaking out, understandably so. Yes. So at this point, they're like, we can't stop labor. And so they asked me, they're like, do you want us to take life-saving measures for your child? And without a second thought, I'm like, yeah, do everything you can. And while I'm in labor, while I'm freaking out, they're like, well, we just want to let you know she's not going to have a good life. She's going to live the life of a vegetable, and she's probably not going to make it. And I said, I don't care. Yeah. Do what you have to do. Absolutely. So at this point, they wheel me to a labor and delivery room. So I get in there, and they realize quickly there's probably 40 people, like, health surrounding you, because there's so many people that just are trying to help. And we got there right around maybe 5:36. It was right before shift change. So I've got day shift and I've got night shift. They're all pitching in to try and help, because what do you do? So we're in the labor and delivery room, and I'm about to start pushing, and they pull out dresses, white dresses. And they say, do you want lace, or do you want satin? Basically like her funeral dress. Oh my gosh. While I'm about to deliver. That is terrible. Yeah. Like, I've lost so much blood. I'm not really coherent. And they're showing me the dresses, and I'm like, lace, I guess. Oh, wow. At this point, they are wheeling me to the OR because there's no room in the labor and delivery room because there's just so many people. So I get on the way there. I tell them, I feel like I need to poop. And any pregnant woman knows that feeling is, you don't need to poop, you need to push. And so they're like, don't push. And I'm like, okay, I'll try. And so by the time we get into the OR and everything is set up, it's go time, and I'm pushing. So I push for probably 45 minutes, and thankfully my mom and Tyler were in there. So Tyler, he is just super upset. He is never really scared, but in this moment I could tell he was scared. And I knew that I needed to be strong for him, because if I wasn't strong, then what are we going to do? Yeah. Like, I just couldn't watch him crumble. Had to reassure him. So I'm pushing, and in between pushing, I look at him and I just smile, and I'm like, it's okay, I can do hard things. Aww. And that's something that we say to each other now, because we can do hard things. And I just kept saying it over and over. I'm saying, it's okay, I can do hard things. We can do hard things. And just because she was a tiny baby does not mean it doesn't hurt. I'm sure. I feel this, it felt like a water balloon. And I just see an explosion on my doctor's face. And that was my uterus. Oh. So my uterus ruptured, and my placenta and my cord prolapsed, which basically means that my placenta and my cord were coming out before the baby was, which is not good. Can't happen. So immediately, I don't know, some nurse basically just like shoves everything back inside, and they're like, we got to prep her for C-section. Well, there is no prepping. I don't have an epidural, which is, you have to have that for a C-section, so they have to put me to sleep. At this point, I'm terrified. Like, all I could think was, not only am I going to lose my baby, but I'm going to die, because my uterus just ruptured. And I didn't know what was happening. I had lost so much blood. I could feel myself kind of
I mean, this is all happening really, really fast,
Very fast.
Like, you can't even really comprehend what's going on, probably.
Exactly.
And then you're out of it because you've lost so much blood. You're in pain. You know, Tyler's not doing well. Y'all don't really know what's going. Yeah.
And Tyler stands up, and I'm like, please don't leave me, because I was so scared. And he was like, I'm not going anywhere. And then doctor's like, oh, yeah, you are. You got to get out. Because he came straight from work, so he's covered in dirt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was not sanitary. So he had to go. And at this point, I'm just so scared. And I will never forget a respiratory therapist. He leaned over and he was like, do you want me to hold your hand? And I will never forget that, his kindness, because in that moment, all I needed was someone.
Yeah. And
I remember after, you know, I'm holding the respiratory therapist's hand, and there's a nurse, and she's just kind of rubbing my head, and she's like, it's going to be okay. And I looked at her and I said, am I going to be okay? And she was like, you're going to be fine. And so immediately, I mean, I fall asleep. They put me to sleep. She's born. I'm still asleep at this point. And Tyler said, you know, they got her out. They got her over. They started working on her. And within like 2 minutes of that, the NICU team just comes in. And he said it was like,
the C.
Yeah. Splitting the C's.
Yeah.
They call it the Stork Squad. So the Stork Squad comes in and they
Such a cute name.
I know. So the Stork Squad comes in and they start working on Ivy. And at this point, you know, she's, I mean, not doing well, but she's alive. So they get her ready and they take her. And I think they're still at Houston at this point, but they're just kind of doing what they need to do to get her prepared. They intubate her. They, you know, do all the things. They have to cover her up in all of these like blankets and stuff because she's not at a point where she can regulate her own body temperature. And so they have her in like a little incubator. Like they're doing all the things. And at this point, I'm still asleep. Well, about 30 minutes after she was born, I start to wake up, and I don't do well on anesthesia. So I wake up kicking, fighting. I have no clue where I'm at. I didn't even know I was pregnant. So they're like, your baby, look, there's your baby. And there's a live picture of me, and you just see me trying to sit up, and I say, my baby, because I had no idea that I was even pregnant.
Wow.
And I had no clue where I was, who I was, nothing.
So at this point, you got to see her in the incubator and stuff, like from a distance.
Yeah, from a distance. I'm still on the operating table. She's like probably 20 feet away, and I don't see anything but black hair.
Yeah.
But that was it. And you know, they wheel her away, and I'm just kind of laying there, and they take me to a recovery room by myself and put me in this dark room with one nurse in the middle who's scrolling on her phone, and I'm just laying there with my thoughts. And I just remember sitting there crying because I'm like, what just happened? Like, this is not supposed to be like this. You're not supposed to have your baby at 23 weeks. I shouldn't be in here by myself. Like, I need somebody. You know, they wouldn't let Tyler come back there. They wouldn't let my mom. I was just alone with my thoughts, which was not a good place to be. And eventually they take me out of recovery and take me to a room, and the doctor comes in there, and they're like, we don't know why she was born so early. We're just guessing that you had an infection, because I had a UTI the week before. So they're like, we're thinking maybe the UTI. So they don't know, but they said that I gave birth because of a condition called chorioamnionitis, which is basically an infection of the placenta. I'm in the hospital. I just had an emergency C-section. My uterus ruptured. And they tell me, we'll discharge you if you can walk, but that's the only way we can discharge you. And so immediately I'm like, okay, bring somebody over here. I got to get up because I want to go see my baby. She's in Macon. I didn't get to see her.
Has anybody got to see her?
Tyler got to see her for a quick moment after she was born. He came over and they let her hold his hand.
Oh.
And that was it.
I think there's a picture of that, isn't there? Okay.
Yep. So that was the only, you know, he got to see her for a little bit. And I mean, she doesn't look like a normal full-term baby. I mean, she looked scary. She was bruised. She looked like purple all over. Her head was very swollen from me trying to push her out and then having to be shoved back in. And at this point, I mean, they're so fragile. Nobody.
How much? What did she weigh?
She was 1 pound, 1 ounce.
Wow. I remember seeing a picture, and I think it was the smallest diaper they have, and it's the size of your palm.
Yeah, and it was still too big.
And it was like, she was so tiny compared to that diaper. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Her footprint, if you hold up your thumb, that is the size of her foot when she was born. She was so small. So, you know, Tyler got to see her, but they took her to Macon. Like, she needed to go. And at this point, I'm still in the hospital. So I'm away from my baby. I still haven't got to see her. And they're telling me she's not going to live.
Yeah.
So when they say, you need to walk to be discharged, I'm like, all right.
Right now.
I'll go. And so the night shift nurse comes in there and helps me walk to the bathroom. I go. And the doctor comes back in and they're like, hey, I know you walked and you're ready to be discharged, but you actually have a fever because of your infection. So we can't discharge you because that's a liability. So I have to stay another night. And the next morning I wake up and I still have a fever, but they're giving me Tylenol, things like that. And so it comes down and they're like, look, if you just keep taking this medicine, we'll let you go. We know you want to meet your baby. So I know they probably shouldn't have done that, but I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
Very, very thankful. So they let me go, and immediately I'm like, take me to Macon. And I remember looking in her little incubator, and I mean, she doesn't even look like a real baby at this point. Like, I was just like, how can something that small live outside of my body? Like, and I struggled a lot with guilt, because I'm like, she's not supposed to be here on a breathing tube. She's not supposed to be here fighting for her life. She's supposed to be inside me where it's safe and healthy, and I'm supposed to be doing all of that for her. And now she's having to do it. Yeah. And so immediately from birth, she's fighting for her life. And so that was something I struggled with a lot. One of my good friends from middle school was there. She's a NICU nurse, and so she was there when Ivy was admitted. She gets there, and we talk to her, and she kind of explains everything to me. And she tells me, this is going to be a really hard, long journey. It's going to be a roller coaster of ups and downs. And this first week is the honeymoon phase. So she might seem like she's doing really good, and it's because she still has all of your nutrients and all the things that you were giving her still kind of going through her body. But when those wear off, that's when things are really going to get bad. And so
I feel like that's really hard for someone to say to you too.
Definitely.
Like in this point, like, so that was, you needed to hear it just in case of anything. But at the same time, that's really hard to hear.
Definitely.
Like, oh, it might seem like she's doing good, but she's not.
Yeah.
That's sad. Yeah.
So, that first week, after she told me that, that's when Tyler and I really just started praying. And I think we were just more so, like, we're just begging God to do something for her. Because we were so scared. And, I mean, that's our baby. We really, really learned how to pray in those first few weeks of her life, because you get calls every time they have to, like, resuscitate or anything like that. And, I mean, it happened a lot in the beginning.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I shared a lot about her story on Facebook, but I really only posted the happy things. And especially now, whenever I get the memories that pop up on my Facebook, it just blows me away how positive I was, because I didn't understand really what was happening. And now that I know, and I've gone through the whole 4 months of her NICU stay, and I see it from a different perspective now, I'm like, I just was ignoring what was, like, I was just so positive. I knew, I was like, God's got her. She's going to be fine. I knew she'd be okay. But even I would get those calls that something would happen. They'd be like, she's okay now, but we just had to, bag her or do this or do that. So that was really tough. But then things started to look up. She started getting a little bit stronger, and, it took a few months, but she did. And, I remember the first time I got to hold her, it was a month after she was born.
Wow. Yeah. That's a long time to have to wait.
Yeah, we couldn't touch her at all for the first week. So when she was in the NICU, the first week that you're there, we weren't allowed to touch her because they had to do a brain ultrasound, where basically they have to see if there's any damage to her brain, any bleeding or anything like that. And they have like 4 stages of it. And they told me, they were like, prepare yourself. She's gonna have like a stage 4. She's gone through a lot of trauma. It didn't look good. Like, hers is going to be bad. So just prepare yourself. And it's okay. There's babies that have made it through with this. Like, and they would show us pictures of other babies that had been in the NICU that had gone through that. And so we just knew. We're like, okay, this is going to be bad. So, and I remember this is the first time that Tyler ever prayed out loud with me. And I just felt so much peace. Like, having your husband pray over you and your child, like, that is special. And so we get the call with her results from the ultrasound, and she didn't have it. She was clear. Nothing. Wow. And I just was like, we prayed for this, and then it happened. And that is like when things kind of started to...
Them wheels start turning.
I'm like, hold on. God's listening to me. And so there would be so many things that they would purpose for. Like, she had this hole in her heart, and they're like, we need this hole to close up, or she's going to have surgery. We're going to have to send her to Atlanta. And so a couple weeks went by, and they're checking it, and they're like, it's not looking good. And then I think 2 or 3 days before she was going to have to be sent, they're like, the hole closed up. And that was something we prayed for. And so it was just like one thing after the next, like, and I'm like, wow, like I'm praying for these things and it's happening.
Yes.
Like God is really listening to me.
I remember being at the church and like we have a group text. I wasn't in it at the time, but I remember everybody was talking about it. Like, we got to pray for this, this, and this, and everything. And we all were just like, oh my gosh, like God is moving.
Yeah.
Like, she was such a warrior in
was.
those moments. Like, she was just continuously
Yeah.
beating all odds.
Yeah.
All odds.
Everything they said that was going to happen did not
Never.
happen.
Yep.
And it was crazy to me. And I just felt like, okay, I'm posting all these things on Facebook and I have all these people praying for her. Like, God's really working in her. And he was. And that definitely helped Tyler and I's relationship with the Lord grow because we were seeing these miracles before our eyes. I'm like, you're doing this for our child. Like, thank you. And so that was really, really cool. And I'm very thankful for that because I feel like Ivy being born is what caused Tyler and I to want to build that relationship with God. Because I can't say that if she would have been born full term and healthy that we would have started building that relationship.
Yeah. Because through Ivy, you got to watch him. Like, you got to feel his presence, see those miracles, like that he's the same God today as he was back then.
Exactly.
So that, yeah, I see
really
what you
special.
mean.
She spent 4 months in the NICU, and still through the whole 4 months, she's beating every odd. And I remember when we got to bring her home, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I never thought we'd finally get here because she was in there for 127 days. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not that long. But when you're going 127 days without your child, having to drive up to Macon every day, and, you know, it was a lot. When we finally got to bring her home, I'm like, oh my gosh, we've been praying for this. Well, then we bring her home, and maybe 2 days later, she tests positive for COVID. And that was really hard. I struggled really, really hard with postpartum anxiety after she came home. Not necessarily when she was born, which was kind of weird to me. Like, I feel like I was just in like fight or flight. But then when she came home, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this baby at home who has a feeding tube, which was a whole nother ball game of stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
And she just got taken off oxygen last week, and now she's got COVID. So I take her to the hospital, and they're like, she's fine. Like, and they just like disregard the fact that she was in the NICU 2 days prior. And that was really hard for me because I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, she was a micro preemie. Like, you guys need to admit her something. Like, I can't go home. Well, they send me home, and I just drive right back because I'm like, if I go home and go back, they're going to admit her. And they do. So they kept, I'm like, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
So they kept her overnight, and she had like one episode where her oxygen dropped, but they were like, she's fine. And they sent her home. And she did end up, you know, recovering from that, and everything seemed to be fine until about a month after that. We brought her home in February, and she passed away in March, about a month after that. And they still don't know why. We won't get an answer for that. They just said, they called it SUDS. Not SIDS, but SUDS. Where it's
I was like, hang on. Is it SIDS? Okay.
It's not SIDS.
Okay.
So SIDS, I'm not exactly sure what determines that, but SUDS is basically sudden unexplainable death syndrome. Sudden unexplainable infant death syndrome. They did an autopsy and things like that, and there's like blood vessels they can look at in her eyes, and she never suffocated. She never, like, they genuinely have no idea why she passed away. And I remember, obviously, that night that we found her, that was really hard. And having to watch Tyler, because, like, I was asleep, and Tyler woke me up, and he was like, hey, something's wrong. And I was like, she's fine. And then we quickly realized that she was not fine, and we turned on the lights, and just, that's when we knew. Like, I knew in that moment, and I was just, I feel like I was in denial. Like, I did not accept what was going on. Like, I called 911. They get there. They take her. You know, they tell us that she had passed away, and I didn't even cry. I was just like, what? I genuinely shocked. Yeah. I couldn't talk. I just sat there and stared at the wall for like hours. And then the next morning, that's when everything really hit me. And I was inconsolable. Yeah. Needless to say. It was just really hard. And especially, you go through 4 months of being in the NICU, and you think you've gone through all these hard things and everything's going to be okay, to her passing away for no reason. And immediately, Tyler and I both were so angry with God. I was just like, how could you do this to me?
Because, like, you beat all those obstacles and you're like, this is what he did it for. So we could have this story to tell and be able to show, like, his miracles. And then she's stripped from you.
Yeah. And that was something that a lot of therapy got me through. And I still struggle with it sometimes of, like, why me? But I have a friend who shared her testimony online, and I read it. And she posted something kind of similar. Not the same situation, but posting about that, like, why me? And her words were like, why not me? We live in a broken world. Like, who's to say that I'm better than you, that you I shouldn't have to go through these hard things. And I feel like that's, like, part of God's promise is that things in heaven are perfect and great, and there's no suffering and there's no pain, but we live on earth where there is suffering and pain and evil. And that took me a long time to understand, because in this moment I don't care about any of that. All I care about is the fact that I felt like he took her from me.
Yeah.
And that was something I had a really hard time with.
So this is March
of 2023.
2023. And so
at this point, we haven't even celebrated our first year of marriage.
Oh, wow.
Because we got pregnant right after our honeymoon. She was born 4 months premature, and then she passed away 1 month before our 1 year wedding anniversary.
Oh, man. That's heavy. That's a heavy year.
Our first year of marriage was a blur of just one thing after the next, and then her passing away, and then us having to grieve together. And I'm very thankful because a lot of people, when you go through something so hard, it can be really easy to push your partner away. And that was not the case for Tyler and I. And I'm very, very grateful, because I know that that does happen. But I feel like we both really leaned on each other, because you're the only person that knows how I feel.
Yeah.
You're the only person that knows how it feels to have your, that's gone through this exact same situation as me. And so we really, really leaned on each other, and I'm very thankful. And I feel like it brought us together even more. I mean, not that we were fine, but then you go through something so traumatic, and it's almost like it just bonds you.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it is like a fork in a road. Like, you can either grow together or completely spiral and go two different directions. Because, I mean, like you said, nobody knows how y'all feel.
Yeah.
Like, no one's experienced this. This is just you and him.
Yeah. After it happened, that's something, my dad owns a funeral home, so he sees that happen a lot, where people push each other away. And he's like, y'all really just need to lean on each other. And I remember Tyler said, I've already lost Ivy, I can't lose you too. And that's something, I'm going to cry. I'm just very thankful that I have a husband that cares enough where he'll put his grieving aside, that he realizes I have a wife that needs me. And I feel like marriage counseling really kind of put that into both of our heads too, of like, I remember there's one thing that J. Ray said, he told Tyler, he's like, you're leading the ship. If the ship sinks, everyone's going to look at you. And Tyler takes that very seriously. I know that I would not be here right now if I did not have Tyler.
Yeah.
Like, if we would have pushed each other away, it would have, I mean, I was already depressed, but it just would have been another added layer. So we're both really angry at God, and neither of us are interested in going to church. We did not go to church for months after she passed away, because at this point we're just angry. And I remember Michelle told both of us, you can yell at God. He can handle it. He is way bigger than your feelings. You can yell at him. Yeah. He will forgive you. I kind of went through the stages of grief. I started going to therapy, and shout out to Jennifer Ransom. She's amazing.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I love Jennifer.
I love her. Yep. So that's my therapist. I love her. She helped me tremendously through my grief journey. And I don't think that I would have been at this place that I am now without seeing her. And I know some people don't like therapy. Tyler chose not to do therapy, and that's fine. He grieved the way that he needed to grieve, and worked through his emotions himself, and that's what he needed. Yeah. But at this point, we're still pretty angry, and a little bit of time goes by, and it was Ivy's birthday. It was October, so she passed away in March, October. I don't know how many months that is, but at this point, we're like, maybe we do want to have more kids. And that was something I felt really guilty about, because I was like, what if people think I'm trying to replace her? And that's not at all what it is. I mean, if she was still here and I had another baby, no one would think twice about it.
But it was just something that, honestly, the enemy was putting in your head.
Yes.
To make you.
I felt like I was going to be judged if I did or if I didn't, if it's too soon, or, if you wait, whatever. I cared too much about what other people thought, and I had to do what I felt was right. And so at this point, I'm like, if it happens, it happens. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's in God's plan. And I'm still angry with him, but I'm like, it is what it is. And I'd been going to therapy for a little bit at this point, and so my anger had kind of washed away a little bit, and I was more so in that, like, trust God kind of era, and Tyler was still more angry than I was. So October rolls around, and we decide, if it happens, it happens, and it was not happening. And we went a few months, it wasn't happening. And so I just remember being like, okay, so have Ivy, go through all of that, then she passes away, and now I can't get pregnant. So you're telling me the only baby that I'm ever going to get is the one that's in heaven? And that was the thoughts that were going through my head of, like, why me? And I just didn't understand. And that was hard too for Tyler, because he can't help me in that. There's nothing you can say to make it better. And so December comes, and we were figuring out what our New Year's resolutions were going to be. And Tyler said, I think we should start going to church. And that shocked me.
Yeah.
Because he was still angry. But through therapy and everything, I had started praying for Tyler that he would have that desire. And so for him to say that he wanted us to go to church, I was like,
just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. I'm like, hold up, maybe God is still answering my prayers. Like, maybe this is working. January comes around, and we start going to church, and we end up pregnant in January. So
wow,
the month that we start going back to church is the month that we got pregnant with Knox.
That is just, like, so just big, because, like, Tyler just comes out on a whim, like, I want to start going back to church, and I know that Michelle was praying for it big.
Definitely.
I'm sure your parents and stuff too.
Definitely.
But I just know Michelle's side, and she had been praying for that. And the first time y'all come, she said, I'm not gonna show out, I'm not gonna say anything big, but there I am. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we were all so excited, but everybody's like, but don't
jinx it.
Like, don't go over and, like, ambush them or anything. Yeah. So that was January.
Yes.
Then a few weeks later,
I found out I was pregnant. Yes. So we started going back.
Yeah.
We started going back to church, and our prayers started getting answered. And I'm like, okay, maybe we have to have a relationship with God for for our prayers and things. Like, we can't just pray and ask him for things all the time.
Yeah.
We have to thank him for things and pray for others. And, like, there's so much more to it. We have to build a relationship with him. And us getting pregnant and going back to church, I feel like, was almost like that push that we both needed to get back into church.
Yeah.
And then with me finding out I was pregnant, Tyler and I both agreed that it was really important to us that we raised our child in the church, because it's our responsibility as parents to make sure that they go to heaven.
Yeah.
And
I actually said this in one episode before, because I saw it on TikTok, but it was like, the only thing you can take with you when you go is your kids. Yeah. Like, you have an opportunity to take something with you, and it can be your kids. Yep. So why not?
Exactly. And something that I remember from Ivy's funeral, Pastor Matt said, if you want to see her again, you have to have a relationship with the Lord. And I know some people felt like that was heavy, but it's the truth.
Yeah. It is.
If I ever want to see her again, I have to have this relationship. And I feel like that was, with us getting pregnant with Knox, and then just remembering kind of that, it was like, okay, we have to, this is important. This matters. We're not just going to skate our way into heaven, living the life that we've been living and being angry with him forever. And then I started to kind of think, I'm like, okay, if she could sit here and see me, would she be proud? Like, I was not in a good place. And so I was like, I want to live a life that she is proud of.
Yeah.
If she can see me right now, I want her to see that I'm thriving, I'm doing well, and that I'm going to see her again one day, not that she's like, oh my gosh, my mom. So, got pregnant, and of course that was very nerve-wracking because of my previous pregnancy and everything. And I had a perfectly healthy, normal pregnancy with Knox.
Wow.
He did come early. He came at 35 weeks, but in my mind, that was full term.
That's full term.
Yeah, he's fine.
Feeling good, feeling great.
He went to the NICU for like 4 days, and I remember I couldn't go in there because I had a C-section, and you have to walk to the NICU. So Tyler, he's in there, and they're like, yeah, he's on oxygen. I'm sorry. And he's like, this is fine. He's on low flow. He's good.
Yeah, like, it's okay. Yeah, we're good.
He's fine. So we were just very blessed with Knox to be so healthy and perfect, and he still is just a healthy, perfect little sweet boy. He never cries. He's just like the most chill baby. Anyone that's ever around him, like you can see, he's
very chill.
He's so laid back.
Yes.
So we're very thankful. And with Knox and being pregnant and everything, we really wanted to, build our relationship with the Lord. And I'm like, we have to do it now. Just because he's born doesn't mean we're just going to start going to church. So while I was pregnant, we're like, let's get involved. So we started volunteering with the kids ministry. So we are the first grade leaders.
Sweet.
Yeah, we love it.
Yes,
that's
awesome.
We look forward to it every week. We love our kids in there. They're so sweet. I told Tyler, I'm like, when they move up, we're going with them. Like,
you're gonna follow them all the way.
I love them.
You might be in middle school and stuff then.
We're gonna have to, because I can't. Like, I love these kids.
Oh, that is sweet. That is just it's so sweet because, January of this year is when this big rapid change, like y'all radically started changing within that first, like y'all start going and then instantly. And then I remember, I think y'all filled out a say yes card or whatever. And that's where y'all started volunteering.
Yep.
And Michelle hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
And Carrie, one of our administrative assistants, she said, Jordan Statzer, is that Tyler's wife? I said, yes. And she said, they filled out a volunteering card. And we're like, what? I said, Michelle is going to freak.
And it was Tyler's idea.
Yes, that is so awesome.
And that's something he's always said. He's like, I want to lead you and, be a good Christian husband. And at that point, like, Tyler's dad would send him a devotion every morning. And so I feel like his dad also kind of helped him because like his dad is his hero. He wants to be just like him. And so his dad kind of helped push him into that. And then we just wanted to be able to give Knox a good life. And so we're like, you know what? It starts now. Yeah. And as we start building this relationship with God, we realize how great it is and how good it feels. And like now we wake up every morning and do devotion and I
spend
pray
time together.
Yeah, I pray all the time. Anytime Knox wakes up at night, I'm praying. Anytime I'm driving in the car, I'm praying. I've changed from listening to like just music. Sometimes I hear something that I used to love to listen to and it makes me cringe. Yeah. Because of how vulgar it is. And now I find myself wanting to listen to worship music and while I'm cooking and things like that. Like he really has like just been working on us, especially like just like you said, a radical change from this time last year. We were angry with God. Yep. And now we are more
fully surrendered.
Yeah, for sure.
That is so great, girl. Yeah. That is so great. I'm so glad and thankful that you wanted to come on and share your story, you and Ivy's story and Tyler's story, because one of the reasons I wanted to start this is not just for drugs and alcohol, because that's what I struggled with. Right. But, there's so many other things in life that people are struggling with, and that's hindering their relationship with Jesus. Yeah. And when you share your story, it helps others, come to know Jesus and really surrender their life to him, because that's the only way you're going to ever, heal or feel like it wasn't just some traumatic thing, like it's all for, I don't know.
A bigger purpose.
A bigger purpose, yeah.
I feel like us going through everything is really what led us to God and like to actually have a relationship with him. And I've always said, she only lived 5 months, but she fulfilled and lived and served her purpose in those 5 months. If without her, I would not have the relationship with God that I do have. And that's something that I will be forever grateful for. And of course, I'll always have that hole in my heart and miss her forever. And there's not a day goes by that I don't think about her. And, selfishly, sometimes I wish she could be here, but I know that she's in this perfect place. Yeah. And I'm like, what more could I want for her? So I'm just very thankful for the time that I did have with her, because like the doctor said, she's not going to live more than, this week, or she's not going to make it till tomorrow. And she lived 5 months. So we got 5 months with her.
So as we close out, I guess I just wanted to ask if maybe you had some advice or maybe something that you want to share with someone that you've learned on your journey or what you've experienced, and maybe they're dealing with something similar. So do you have anything that you would like to say?
Really, just first of all, I'm sorry that you have to go through this and that we can relate on this, because nobody should have to relate. Moms and dads are not supposed to bury their babies, but it does unfortunately happen. And genuinely the best thing that I ever could have done was trust God and just trust that there is a bigger plan. Because, I went through being so angry with him. And then finally, when I just let go and surrendered, everything I felt this peace over me. And I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy, because it wasn't. It's so hard. And there's still some really hard days. There's days where I'm at work and I'm like, I got to go. Like today's not a good day. And I know that there will be hard days to come, but slowly over time, things have gotten not necessarily easier, but I just have a peace about it. So really just trusting God is my biggest advice, honestly, and therapy.
Yeah.
Jennifer Ransom.
Jennifer Ransom.
Yep.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. We just have been talking and just wanting to really tell your story, and we're so appreciative that she was open to do this. So stay tuned, stay blessed, and we'll see you next week.